Chapter 6. After staying up way too late doing homework and then snoozing my alarm a million times, I missed my chance to get a ride to school. I barely had time to throw on my clothes and grab the last ginger glazed bagel before I had to rush out of the house. The screech of the bus's brakes, something between a moan and a groan, echoed in the distance. I was already at the corner with the sign out and the lights blinking when I finished locking the front door. I ran as fast as I could with my backpack thumping against me and the bagel in my hand. "No food on the bus," the driver said as I climbed the steps. "It's my breakfast. Can I eat it really fast?" She nodded her head towards the small plastic bag in the corner by her seat. "Sorry, but there isn't time. You can throw it in there." There had to be some kind of law against this. I tossed my bagel into the bag and was about to head back to the empty space next to Nori when the driver motioned to the vacant spot behind her. "We have to get going. You need to sit there." I sighed and plopped down on the torn green seat. Then I looked back to try and make eye contact with Nori. She was typing on her laptop, probably finishing up some homework. I could have texted her, but she seemed awfully busy, and she still hadn't replied to that text I'd sent with my schedule. Besides, if she really wanted me to sit with her, she would have been paying attention when the bus got to my stop. My backpack jolted against me as we hit a pothole. I leaned my head on the cold, hard window and closed my eyes, hoping to catch a short nap before having to deal with my classes. The bus shuddered and heaved as it pulled to a stop in front of the school. I grabbed my backpack and dragged my feet down the steps, then moved to the side so everyone else could pass by me while I waited for Nori. "The driver wouldn't let me go sit with you," I told her. "I saw." Good. At least she was speaking to me, but why shouldn't she be? "And about yesterday," I took a deep breath. "I'm really sorry I didn't save you a seat, but you never texted me your schedule. I had no idea you were coming to that class." I dropped my phone in the driveway a couple of nights ago without realizing it, and my mom ran over it. We had to go buy another one after she got home from work yesterday, and I just finished setting it up this morning. And I'd been so sure she was ignoring me. Nori pulled her backpack higher on her shoulder. "You do realize I'm stuck with that Ethan kid for at least the entire grading period, and maybe longer." "I know. I can't believe it. Who assigns partners like that on the first day? Who won't change places to be by their best friend?" From the look she gave me, I couldn't quite tell if she was mad or if she was just trying to make a point. But it wasn't like she would be winning any Friend of the Year medals after ditching me at the barn and then not even bothering to tell me that Luke would be at the pool with her. Before I had a chance to say anything, Nori glanced toward the building. "Hey, there's Luke. He must have been waiting for our bus to get here. I better go catch up with him. See you later." She ran off, leaving me staring after her as kids passed me on both sides. My day got even worse when I was by myself in the courtyard at lunchtime again. PE was better since Gabby had a schedule change and ended up in there. All we did was walk around the track, so I filled her in on the different horses at Inglebrook. Soon, it was time for English, and I had an idea. Maybe I could switch my seat without the teacher noticing, and Nori would appreciate it so much that things would be back to normal between us again. Except then when I got to the classroom and read the dark blue words scrawled on the whiteboard. Same seats as yesterday. Before I could decide whether to try and sneak next to Nori anyway, Gabby and Maria walked in. "Why are you just standing there?" Maria grabbed me by the arm. "Come on." Once we were all sitting down, Gabby pulled out a notebook and started writing frantically, trying to do last night's assignment before the bell rang. "No offense," Maria said to me, "but you look really tired." Was that her way of saying I look bad? I shrugged. "I have a lot going on." "I know what you mean," she nodded sympathetically. "We had a tough volleyball practice yesterday. Our first game's on Friday, so the coach is making us scrimmage a lot, on top of all of our drills." Gabby glanced up from her paper. "But at least you got to serve a bunch of times, right?" "Yeah." Maria reached into her backpack and pulled out a concealer pencil and a tiny mirror. She held them out to me. "Here, my grandmother sells makeup, so I get a lot of stuff for free, and this is the best for dark bags under your eyes." Wow. They were that noticeable? Thanks. She showed me how the pencil worked, and I quickly swiped it under my eyes and rubbed in the concealer just as the bell rang. I'd been so busy talking to Maria that I hadn't even noticed when Nori came into the room. I turned back in her direction, but she was looking down at her desk, getting something out of her folder. We ended up working in pairs, just as Mr. File had said, but Maria's partner wasn't there, so she got to be with me and Gabby. We goofed around a little, but finished the assignment. After we were done, I turned back toward Nori again. She was still writing on her paper. Ethan was typing on his phone under his desk, like he wasn't helping at all. On the bus ride home, I stuck my backpack down on the seat beside Nori. Hey. Hi. Should I say something about our English class? It hadn't exactly helped when I brought it up earlier. How's the rest of your schedule? I asked instead. Pretty good. We'll be starting with the pottery wheel and art soon. A big upgrade from just making little pinch pots, like last year. That sounds fun. Yep. I kind of wanted to know if she was in the same situation as me in the cafeteria, or if she'd found people to eat with. I wish we had lunch together this year. Yeah, so do I. It would have been a good chance for you and Luke to get to know each other. Of course she and Luke had the same lunch. I wasn't sure what to say next. It was the strangest feeling because usually Nori and I talked to each other like we had to fit absolutely everything in while we had the chance. This was the first time in our entire friendship that I needed to try and think of conversation topics. I didn't want to bring up the whole divorce thing while we were riding on the bus in case that got her upset, and I definitely didn't feel like hearing more about Luke. Have you talked to the twins? I finally asked. Yeah, haven't you? Even though Hannah had commented on my makeover picture, it seemed like I was always the one messaging her and Rachel. Not in the last few days. Do they like their new school? Nori looked at me like I was just so clueless. It doesn't start until next week. She didn't say. Duh, but she might as well have. My face got all hot, which was ridiculous. No one should feel this awkward around someone they'd spent hundreds and hundreds of hours with. The silence between us was killing me. How's everything at your house? I mean, with your mom and dad? You really want to know? Nori's face got all pinched up, the same way as when she first told me about her parents. My mom goes back and forth between crying and acting way too cheerful, and my dad's already called twice, offering to take me sailing in Annapolis. She let out a sigh. That, of course, led to a big argument with my mom about how he's trying to be the fun parent while she's the one doing all the day-to-day work, which obviously means dealing with me. They're both really getting my nerves. In some ways, I wish I could have just stayed at camp. That hit me worse than a slap in the face. If she'd stayed at camp, she'd be with Luke all the time and not me. That sucks, but it probably sucks for them too, don't you think? She shook her head a little. Well, there's a simple solution to all this suckiness. They could have stayed together, which I think would have happened if it had been up to my mom. Wait, what? Nori let out a long breath. The more I found out about it, the more I think this was all because of my dad. So I don't exactly want to go sailing with him or even to his apartment. I don't know what to say to that, but it turned out not to matter because Nori kept talking. No offense, but I don't think this is something you can understand. What do you mean? It's not like my life has always been perfect. Nori blinked fast. I know. I'm just saying you've never been in my current situation, so you can't know exactly where I'm coming from right now. She let out a long breath. Luke's parents split up 3 years ago, so he gets it. Wow. I've been planning to see if she wanted to hang out over the weekend, but now I wasn't so sure. Was she trying to make me feel bad on purpose? Or was she honestly oblivious? Looking at her face, it was impossible to tell. And if I pushed things too far and we got into a real fight, then what? No way could I be left on my own again. Those awful months in 5th grade had been more than enough. Before I could decide whether to say anything else, Nori picked up her phone and began texting. A response came through really quick. She glanced down at it, smiled, and replied. When the door opened at her stop, Nori said, "See you later," before walking away from me. She didn't even look up from her text conversation. What was I supposed to do now? Maybe Mom or Danielle could help me figure it out. The bus screeched to a stop across from my house, and I got off. Mom must have been working late again because her car wasn't in the driveway. The car Danielle bought last week wasn't there either, and with the twins so far away, what would be the point in talking to them about it? I made myself a bowl of popcorn, took it up to my room, and flipped through a magazine without actually reading it. I was almost to the bottom of my popcorn when a message came through on my phone. Maybe Nori felt bad about what happened on the bus, and she wanted to work things out. I grabbed it and... Tyler G. You never answered my question. Is Inglebrook that horse rescue place? It wasn't like I had a million other people to talk to. Julia. Yes? Tyler G. That sounds really cool. Julia. It is. I love it there. Do you ride too? What if he was looking for a place to take lessons or even to volunteer? Haven't ever yet. You're missing out. I'll have to think about it. You should. I have a ton of homework to do. I should probably get started. You already have homework? My school doesn't start until next week. Huh? I go to Westbrook Day. That was the fancy private school on the other side of town, and there were supposedly a ton of really cute guys there. Maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to chat a little longer. I'll be in 10th grade. What about you? I'm in 8th grade. I go to Cedar Hills. Would he even want to keep talking with someone 2 years younger? What do you do besides riding? That answered that question. I work at the barn, feeding horses and cleaning stalls. You must be really mature for your age to do all of that. I had never thought about it like that, but maybe he was right. What about you? I'm in a band with some friends. We mostly just goof around, but I play guitar. I don't usually chat with people who are younger than me, but you seem different in a good way. My cheeks got warm, and I smiled to myself. Here's a pic of me. He was on stage playing guitar, so I couldn't get a very close look at his face. He was tall and thin with shaggy blonde hair. So do you like other animals or just horses? I love them all. I have 2 cats, Louie and Ginger. They're both rescues. No kidding. I have 3 cats, all rescues too. Any guy who was into rescuing cats had to be a decent person, right? I settled back against my pillows again and started typing.